Jersey Blues.
You're on Brookdale TV. Brian Goudsward, Tim Catalfamo back here with you. Well, Brookdale has bounced back from an opening night defeat by winning their last 3 games. And Tim, integrating a lot of new players into the mix this year, but you almost sense that during this 3-game winning streak, they've come together as a team.
Yeah, that was really one of the keys that Coach Chizak wanted to work on during the offseason, getting the team to come together as a whole unit. That was really a struggle because you have players like Teray Gatling, who's played on the Jersey Blues roster before, but then you have other freshman stars that are coming in that have to try to intermix and learn that offense. So that's been a storyline, but the last couple of games that they've had, they've really performed very well. This will be a big test for them. Northampton is a very good ball club. I think this will be a good barometer of where the team is at.
Yeah, Northampton, always a team that poses a tough challenge to this Brookdale team. These two teams met twice a season ago, including in the Region 19 tournament, where Brookdale prevailed with a victory to advance eventually the Region 19 championship game, and of course culminating Brookdale's season did a year ago in their second ever national championship. But this year, expectations very much a little bit tempered. Talking to Coach Chizek before the season started, he understands the situation. It's a lot of freshmen, a lot of new faces, but they've responded and are off to a 3-1 start as they get set to take on Northampton. Second home game of the season for Brookdale. And we are ready to go with Jameer Calhoun at midcourt, and Brookdale controls the opening tip. We're underway. Starting lineup: Makai Morgan, Teray Gatling, Lamar Johnson, Randy Sutton, and Jameer Calhoun. This is Gatling coming up short. Calhoun keeps it alive, misfires from the baseline, and the rebound taken by Corey Davis-Combs for the Spartans. Here's Jay Davis. Draws the double team, flips it out. And the Spartans get set up offensively on their opening possession. Davis fires and hits a 3-ball for Jay Davis, the Northampton leading scorer.
Yeah, he'll be someone that Brookdale's going to have to close out on, and at least, if a bare minimum, get a hand in his face. He had 32 points in the last game that Northampton played against Luzerne, so that's going to be a player you're going to be calling a lot tonight.
Here's Randy Sutton. They work it back out. Nice ball movement. Calhoun had it stripped, and it's taken away by Jay Davis. Work it around, nice ball movement, and Davis buries another triple, and a quick timeout taken by Brookdale and Paul Chizek, wondering what exactly happened to his perimeter defense as he's seen the Northampton leading scorer hit a couple of trays.
Well, I just mentioned it a moment ago. You're going to have to close out on Jay Davis. He's a very quick shooter. He can set his feet. He's got good form, and that time, Davis went to the other end of the floor. He hit his first 3 from the right arc, then he goes to the left arc and does the same exact thing. So Coach Chizak taking a timeout, very smart early on, just trying to settle his players down. There's a lot of noise in this building. This is a very raucous atmosphere for the very first home game, truly, that Brookdale has had in an environment like this on a Thursday night. So for them to be able to come out early on and just to settle in, I think is a key. Northampton certainly has come out fired on all cylinders, but Jay Davis is going to be a player you're going to have to close out on, and said a moment ago, get a hand in his face at a bare minimum tonight.
And one thing we've seen with Coach Paul Chizek, he will call the quickest timeouts you've ever seen if he's not happy with the way his team has come out. So Brookdale hoping for a better possession here. Calhoun gave up his dribble, and Makai Morgan is called for moving the pivot foot. A Jersey Blue turnover, and it's Northampton off to the good start on the road. Head coach Brennan McCarthy's team 3-1 on the road to start the year. Finding it inside, it was batted up in the air by Gatling and taken away by Sutton. Brookdale wants to run. Johnson spotting up, off the mark on a 3, tracking it down, low rebound Gatling, and Brookdale will get a second chance opportunity. Lamar Johnson, the stutter step, the drive, and he draws the foul as he hits the ground.
And we kind of saw that speed that Brookdale has shown historically throughout the several seasons that we've been calling their games, Brian. They like to run the ball very early on. They like to run the ball up the floor. And then you saw there Teray Gatling making a nice rebound, going almost out of bounds, saving it into Millar Johnson. And then Johnson was able to go in and make a nice play.
So Johnson puts Brookdale's first point on the board. He'll have another attempt coming. One area he has struggled is in the free throw department, just 46%, but no problem there, 2 out of 2.
And it's worth mentioning, Brian, you talked about free throws. In the very first home game that Brookdale had, the only other home game that they've had against Cumberland, Brookdale struggled mightily from the free throw line. They only made a couple of baskets in the second half, which led to them only winning by 1 point over Cumberland. So they have to get better at the foul line.
And the nice catch and finish by Corey Davis Combs, as it was Elijah Barrett who delivered the pass from the baseline. And the Spartans have an 8-2 lead early. Johnson goes glass. Lamar Johnson has picked up the scoring load for Brookdale early on. Ball nearly knocked away, and then it is. Johnson ahead for Gatling, 2-on-1. Gatling finishes it off on the fast break. Brookdale cuts the deficit to 2. Contested shot. Davis, it goes and 1. Jay Davis is making it happen from all angles. A chance for a 3. Did they not? No, they gave him the benefit of the continuation, so he's trying to make good on a 3-point play. And Davis off the mark, rebound taken by Gatling.
Yeah, his foot was on the line, so it wasn't a 3, it was a 2.
It's Morgan. Lamar Johnson fires a long one, and it won't go. Contested rebound is to Nasir Scott. Here's DeAndre Davis on the drive, out to the wing where Davis Combs can't connect from 3. And now Brookdale leaks out in transition again. Nice find, but missing the dunk. It was Calhoun. Back the other way. Davis, he rocks the rim, two-hand style.
And so far, Northampton is going back and forth with Brookdale. Anything that Brookdale does, Northampton is able to answer. You saw the missed Calhoun dunk there, and Northampton answers with a dunk of their own on the other end.
Northampton doubling up Brookdale. It's 12-6. About 4 minutes gone by. Drive and kick. Morgan thought about it. Now he finds Calhoun, who's able to hang, but couldn't finish it, and it's rebounded by Barrett. There's DeAndre Davis into the paint, and he throws it out of bounds. Trying to set up Scott, but it wouldn't work out. Here's a substitution. First of the night for Brookdale, as checking out of the game. And coming in, I should say, is Jazir Clark, as it's Jameer Calhoun who heads for the bench. Oh, Randy Sutton on the drive. A lot of contact, but no foul called, as it's going to stay on this end of the floor, and I think rightfully so. Paul Chizek has his arms out, yelling out to the officials. A lot of contact on that drive to the basket by Sutton.
Yeah, questionable call that was let go there by the officials, and Chizak was letting them have it.
Morgan to Gatling, he couldn't put it in. The second try is no good, and Brookdale will keep possession once again as Northampton can't come away with a defensive rebound.
In a highly energetic game like this, you have to be careful with how many fouls you call. I understand that, but there's been a lot of contact on both sides of the ball so far that the officials have let go, so they're kind of setting the tone early on. They're going to let some contact go by.
Johnson drive and dish, and Gatling will get the roll +1. Great setup by Johnson, and an and-one opportunity for Teray Gatling. It'll be the second team foul charge to Northampton of this opening half. Gatling has yet to miss at the free throw line so far. That continues. As Ace Bibbs is the substitution for the Spartans. He replaces Corey Davis Combs. Fun game to start.
A lot more energy than the women's game that we just saw about a half hour ago, Brian.
Certainly figures to be a lot more competitive. Nice ball movement, and finishing off the glass is Elijah Barrett. He's the #2 scorer for this Northampton team, and he extends the lead to 5.
And he's a player that Coach Chizak told me pre-game they'd have to defend very well because he can shoot and move the ball around the perimeter.
Gatling won't go for 3. Davis got bumped on the rebound by Johnson. Now he takes it into the paint, goes all the way, blocking foul called, and count the basket. And early on, there was just not a lot of answers for this Jay Davis, creative scorer.
And that's a good call. Makai Morgan wasn't quite set, tried to move at the very last second. That's a good call by the officials.
Davis comes in averaging a shade under 23 points per game on the year. He's shooting well from the floor, 52%, not so much at the line, and he can't convert. And now there's a whistle away from the ball.
Shot clock didn't reset. You mentioned Morgan a moment ago, Brian. He's got 2 personal fouls now, so he's on the bench.
So there you see what was the starting lineup for this Jersey Blue team. It's about the look that Paul Chizek has gone with for the majority of the games, with Sutton recently taking over the 5th spot. Ball knocked out of bounds by the aforementioned Sutton.
Yeah, so far, very nice defense by Northampton. They're getting out. They've kind of changed up their defense. They've gone zone, and then they've gone man-to-man ever since. So they've changed things up pretty well, and they're giving Brookdale some difficulty. Brookdale's a team that likes to go out and run, Brian, as we know, and so far we really haven't quite seen Brookdale be able to do that.
So Ace Bibbs picked up the last foul as it was Keyshawn Cummings starting the drive to the basket. He is checked in for Brookdale as well. He's the inbounder. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Brookdale trailing by 7. Here's Cummings. Misfires from long range, and it's rebounded by Scott. Spartans with a 7-point lead about 6 minutes into this game. Bibbs finds Nasir Scott underneath, and he puts it home.
Yeah, just good ball movement for Northampton.
As Sutton has called for an offensive foul.
And Brookdale's getting frustrated because they can't run the ball like they want to. They're used to running the ball up the floor. They like to have an up-tempo offense. They can't do that, so now they're trying to force things inside, and that time Sutton obviously had nowhere to go. It was a good call by the official, but look, you got 2 of your players behind you on offense. You can't go 1-on-3 inside. That's just a bad decision.
So each side has committed 3 fouls. Each of these teams comes off a blowout win their last time out. Brookdale on a 3-game winning streak, but a sluggish start in their second home game of the year as Law Winton unable to hit from 3, and it's snatched by Teray Gatling, starting the break, but an errant pass intended for Keyshawn Cummings.
Yeah, great rebound there by Gatling, snatching that out of the air, as you mentioned, Brian. But again, Brookdale it never has really looked like, as you look at the Northampton Spartans, that's their starting 5, it never really has looked like Brookdale has settled into this game. I just think that they were caught off guard by the up-tempo energy that Northampton brought to the building.
Here's Elijah Barrett making a move on Johnson, his fadeaway. Ball loose and finally taken by Cummings. And then it's taken away in the backcourt by Barrett. Baseball-style pass, Jay Davis, the throwdown, and Paul Chizek needs to talk things over once again. 13:01 to go in this first half, and Brookdale so far is getting outworked.
Yeah, and just poor defense there, just nobody back there. Unfortunately for Brookdale, they're just not really being able to settle in on either side of the floor. I know that's easy to say, but Northampton is really playing pretty stout defense. They're working the ball around, and as opposed to Brookdale running the ball up the floor, we've seen Northampton be the ones that are actually running the ball up the floor and moving it very well. So a lot of adjustments have to be made for Coach Chizak and his team for sure.
You know, in our experience doing these games, this now our 3rd together, when we've seen Brookdale have a tough time, doesn't it always seem like it comes in the first half?
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll be trailing somewhere around 5 points in the first half, and then they turn on the Jets as the game moves on.
And that's the almighty question for any opponent that has played Brookdale over the last couple of years, because, yes, we have seen that. If Brookdale has any struggles, and they had plenty of struggles last season. They won every single game that they played. They were undefeated. They're the reigning national champions. But they had struggles in some games here in this arena. The difference was eventually the up-tempo offenses or the defensive play that the other opponent was playing eventually didn't work, and Brookdale was able to adjust. So now this is prime time for Coach Chuzak and company on the coaching staff to try to adjust to this up-tempo offense that Northampton has and try to make a game out of this. They're still in this game by all means. This is not over by any means of this, by far. They have an 11-point deficit. They can come back in this game, but they have to settle down on offense for sure.
You always figure this matchup is going to be competitive. Even when Brookdale has had its top teams, Northampton typically will manage to play them tough. Now we'll see what happens outside the timeout. Brookdale now down 11. It's going to stay on this end of the floor. I think Northampton thought they should have earned possession, but that's not the case.
Yeah, Johnson got lucky there. He was looking for Calhoun, kind of threw it behind his back, and lucky for him, Northampton was the last one that touched that basketball.
In the hands of Sutton, Johnson fires. He's got it. Lamar Johnson, a three. He comes in averaging just under 27 a game. 34 points, a season best. In the last game for Brookdale, that was their best showing of the season against the Bergen Bulldogs on Tuesday night. As Jay Davis can't answer, and it's rebounded by Calhoun. Brookdale trying to push the tempo. Cummings lost it into the hands of Law Winton. They work it around to Ace Bibbs. He tries from three, and controlling the offensive rebound, Barrett out to the baseline for Law Winton. He misfires. And finally, the rebound defensively is taken by Johnson. Johnson had a notion. He'll back it up, watched by Bibbs. Johnson makes his move and a foul called. It'll be team foul number 4 against the Spartans.
And that's what I would like to see Brookdale do in this game. Try to slow the game down, try to drive it inside and get some fouls and slow this game down. Try to get yourself a different couple of looks from around the perimeter. That's how you get into this game, when you have a very high up-tempo offense and a defense that's very quick. Try to slow the game down, drive inside, see if you get fouled and go to the line.
Cummings has it slapped away by Bibbs. Aggressive hands defensively as the shot clock reads 11 seconds and Brookdale to inbound underneath. One substitution for the visitors. Bibbs comes out and Najee Cash is in. And now for Brookdale, Sky Cherry makes his first appearance. And Randy Sutton will get a breather at the 11:14 mark of his first half. Inbounder Sutton. Nice bounce, Gatling the catch and finish.
And that's the perfect play out of the inbounds play. Northampton was not really set, and that's what Brookdale was able to take advantage of that.
And that's been a staple of Paul Chizek teams for years, as the nice finish there by Elijah Barrett. But they execute on the out-of-bounds plays about as well as any team in the Region 19. As Sky Cherry draws a crowd, Johnson is open. Lamar Johnson, another one from deep. Oh, he just has a smooth stroke from the outside. Brookdale now trails by 5. Law Winton on the hard drive. That's rejected. Jameer Calhoun gets a piece of it as Northampton will hold on. That's one thing about Brookdale, too. We've seen a lot of times in years past multiple shot-blocking presences. They don't really have that with this group.
Well, that was one of the things that we've talked about during the preseason, Brian. They don't really have a whole lot of size. They have speed, but they don't necessarily have size downstairs. So far, Northampton's been able to exploit that in the rebounding category. As another 3 there from Davis, but they've been able to exploit that so far, but they have speed, and there just Calhoun made a nice play.
Johnson is feeling it. Not that time, and it's rebounded by Barrett. Goes behind the back. Nearly got a little too cute that time. As Barrett pull-up jump off the rim, no. And the rebound out of the air to Johnson. Brookdale running. Good pace to this one. Oh, denied. What a rejection. Elijah Barrett getting back in transition, and he said no. And not only did he say no, he gave his team possession as its last touch Brookdale. What a defensive play.
Yeah, that was a nice block, and the reason why Brookdale coughs up that possession is because Johnson still had the ball as he was going out of bounds.
Davis traveled. He's trying to set up the offense, and Brookdale will take over. Let's take another look.
Now watch this again. The block. Wow.
That's a tremendous play.
It's a nice shot.
For a Northampton team that averages about 3.5 blocks a game, and they get a big one there. Tony James has checked in for the Spartans, and for the first time, Emilio Stevenson for the Jersey Blues. 25-17, Northampton leading. Sky Cherry sees the pick come, trying to use it. His pass a little high, but Calhoun bodied up nicely by Stewart. Johnson, nice drive, and he finishes.
And that's where Johnson is so dangerous. He's good when he's able to catch the ball in transition. Trying to get him in those positions, I think, is what's going to allow Brookdale, when he's on the floor, to really be a true presence.
Traveling is the call on Najee Cash. So the Spartans turn it over. But going back to Johnson, he has provided the spark, igniting the Brookdale offense. They've scored 19. He probably has close to 10 of those, as the Jersey Blues try to fight their way back from what was once an 11-point deficit. As Gatling uses the Calhoun screen, nice roll. Calhoun scores. Set up by Gatling, nice work. DeAndre Davis into the paint with a teardrop for two.
And Northampton's just making all their shots right now. I mean, Brookdale hasn't played that bad on defense. It's just Northampton is getting good looks, and they're knocking them down.
27-21. Here's Gatling, his jumper, and he's fouled. They got hit on the release, and Teray Gatling will step to the line as Paul Chizek is going to insert Keyshawn Cummings back in. And for Teray Gatling, 1 out of 1 from the stripe tonight, and he's yet to miss. As Sky Cherry will go to the bench. Lamar Johnson, for the first time, takes a seat as well. One more attempt for Gatling. Oh, that almost got interfered with by Davis Combs.
May have gotten away with one there.
He almost touched it while it was still on the rim. As the jumper from the outside misses, ball knocked off the backboard and controlled by Gatling. Here's Cummings. Randy Sutton puts it on the floor, hard drive, stripped of the ball. And I think they got a foul called on the Northampton side. It'll be team foul number 6. So Sutton back to the line.
And slowly we're starting to see Brookdale claw their way back in. And the way that they're doing that is they're getting to the line and they're slowing the game down. Northampton, I think, caught Brookdale off guard, or Brookdale, I guess, was caught off guard by how fast Northampton was to start the ball game. But now we're seeing Brookdale start to try to slow things down, getting to the line, taking their time on offense, taking that aggressive offense, high up tempo energy that Northampton has down just a couple of notches.
Sutton, one of 9 freshmen on the roster, as Davis Combs drills a 3-ball.
And of course, as I say that, as soon as they come down the floor and they knock down a 3, that's just bad transition defense by the Jersey Blues.
So the lead back to 7. Here's Sutton with Calhoun. Calhoun, the fadeaway, he's got it. Tough move in traffic down along the baseline for Jameer Calhoun. He's one of the sophomore leaders, first-year jersey blue. As we mentioned, a lot of new faces on the team this year. Davis Combs, not that time, long rebound to Tony James. Second chance opportunity. Davis will get things reset. And it's taken away, the steal by Cummings. Cummings running all the way to the rim. The adjustment, missed it. Offensive rebound, Calhoun couldn't put it back up. And then it was ripped away, but a whistle stops play.
Yeah, Coach Chizek is very upset. There should have been a foul on Keyshawn Cummings on that last drive, that initial drive to the bucket. It was not called. That's just a missed call in my mind. That was definitely some contact. I don't know if it was technically a foul that was in the act of shooting, but there should have at least been a foul called on the floor. Brookdale's getting some consolation with another foul that they called after the bucket, but still.
Lamar Johnson has returned for Brookdale. Cummings gets set to shoot. Brennan McCarthy having a word with the official on the far side. And Cummings in a 1-and-1 will get another attempt. Shoots it well at the line, 75%. Freshman from up in North Jersey. Rahway is his hometown. And he converts 2 out of 2. This is now a 3-point game, 7 minutes to go in the half. Davis all the way to the rim, but he missed it. Johnson has the rebound. Johnson looking up the floor to the corner. And the shot misfired. It was Cummings. Back and forth, the basketball goes as Davis Combs finishes in transition.
And you have to give credit to Northampton here. They're just really strong on offense. They have crisp passes. They're getting the ball to the open guy. And in transition especially, they're getting some really fast break points that Brookdale just has never been able to get in this game.
Push call here against Northampton will be team foul number 8 of the half. And so another 1-and-1 situation for Cummings. I'm talking about Northampton's offensive prowess. They're averaging just under 91 a game, so they certainly can score with Brookdale. These two teams very much evenly matched.
They shot 62% in the last game that they played against Luzerne, so they're a good shooting team, and that was one of the concerns that the coaching staff for the Jersey Blues had coming into tonight's matchup.
Yeah, that was a game that they put up over 100 points in a 102-49 rout. This game between two of the better teams in the Region 19, and it's been tight so far, and I think we anticipate it will be tight to the finish line. 32-29. Davis Combs inside for Barrett, the spin, but he missed it. He's able to get his own rebound, but it's going the other way. It's maybe an over and back call that time. And so again, it will result in free throws down the other end. As it was Gatling who was fouled. This is who Brookdale wants to see at the free throw line. He hasn't missed yet this season. And 1-and-1, he'll get another.
And if there's one thing that's keeping Brookdale in this game, it's the amount of fouls that Northampton has committed in this first half.
Yeah, they've racked up 9. Brookdale has been able to limit their number to just 3. And this is now a 1-point game. Jay Davis is back in for the Spartans. Watching him, Sutton. Davis shooting over Sutton. Won't go for 3. Offensive rebound blocked underneath by Calhoun, and Brookdale comes away with it. Leaking out Johnson. Lamar Johnson, the right-hand layup. Timeout Northampton as Brookdale has gained its first lead of the night, 33-32. We'll step out for just a moment here on Brookdale TV. So after the last transition basket by Lamar Johnson, the Jersey Blues are in front for the first time, 33-32, and what has been a fun game, and certainly I think what stands out is the pace of this game. These two teams going up and down the floor, and that's something that we heard would be the style going into this game.
Yeah, we talked about a couple times how fast Brookdale moves the ball up the floor on offense. Northampton, though, has been able to counter that, and for the majority of the first half, they've kind of kept Brookdale at bay, but the last couple of minutes, as we've seen Brookdale take their first lead of the game, Brookdale's been able to slow that momentum down by getting to the foul line and drawing contact. You mentioned a moment ago, Brian, Northampton has 9 team fouls compared to Brookdale's 3 in this first half. That's changed the pace of this game and has allowed the Jersey Blues to get back in the ball game.
So outside the timeout taken by the Spartans, they have possession as they look to regain the lead once again. Elijah Barrett back for Davis. Tight defense from Sutton. Davis leans in, has it blocked, but there's a foul. As Jameer Calhoun got the block, but I think also got a piece of Davis. As we take another look at it there.
A little bit, maybe before the shot. I think on Cummings instead.
So Northampton inbounds underneath. Davis looking for an option. And it's batted out of bounds by Cummings. So he'll force a re-inbound. Davis hoping for a cleaner one. Nice catch by Barrett. They missed it. The tip-in doesn't go. Offensive rebound again. Blocked underneath. But it stays with Northampton as Nasir Scott tried to finish down low. But Brookdale has tightened up the interior defense.
Yeah, that was an emphatic block by Teray Gatling.
Reset of the shot clock and out of bounds as Jay Davis had 1 foot in the blue, and that gives Brookdale possession. And they get a foul too? They did get a foul, so make it double digits for the Spartans. As picking it up was Nasir Scott, and that's his first.
And now we're kind of starting to see the tales of two halves here in the first half. Brookdale early on was struggling. They started committing fouls. Northampton now has gone cold, and they're starting to commit fouls on both ends of the floor.
Cummings misses from 3, rebounded by Scott. Here's Jay Davis drawing a host of Brookdale defenders. He'll back it out.
And Northampton kind of just has to reset here. They have good offense, they have good looks, but they're getting frustrated and they're making mistakes.
Barrett from the foul line, and he's hit. Well, you have to credit Brookdale for being aggressive. They've contested a lot of Northampton shots, but the flip side of it is that's now 2 possessions in a row where they wind up forcing free throw attempts by hitting Northampton players on the arm. This time it's Barrett to shoot. Calhoun that time picks up his first. A smooth delivery from Barrett, who shoots it at 73%. He's one of the sophomores from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Northampton makes the trip from Bethlehem, PA, where they play their home games. 1 out of 2 from the line. We're all knotted up, 33 apiece. About 4.5 to go first half. Back and forth along the perimeter. Not much doing so far. Sutton got fouled along the baseline, bumped there by Barrett. So Northampton has eclipsed the foul number. It's double bonus the rest of the way, and that will take up 4 minutes, 21 seconds. This time Sutton finds himself at the line, and he's got the first one. Foul on Barrett is his second. Sutton, one of the freshmen from Fort Lee, New Jersey. In and out on the second try. Brookdale back in front by 1. As Barrett with a contested shot. And it's rebounded by Calhoun. Brookdale again looking to push the tempo. Cummings, cross court, Johnson catch and fire. And long rebound Barrett. As he gathers in another, he averages just under 10 a game. And getting bumped there is Davis Combs. Brookdale will pick up number 6. And it'll be on Johnson. One change for the Spartans. Tyrese Stewart is in. Elijah Barrett's been an active first half for him. He heads for the Spartan bench. Inbounder is Law Winton. And that's Stewart who's able to get the roll. Tyrese Stewart, his first points.
Yeah, not much Jameer Calhoun can do on defense. You post up. Stewart's got a little bit of a height advantage over Calhoun. Got about 3 inches. Not really much you can do. You just got to post up, try not to foul, get a hand in his face.
Sutton in some trouble. Nice find underneath, and the easy bucket, Emilio Stevenson. And he was all alone.
And Brookdale's kind of scratched the up-tempo offense idea. Now they're taking their time on offense. They're working the ball around. And now they're starting to get into a groove here late in the first half.
Law Winton on the perimeter, working on Stevenson. Shot clock down to 12. High screen comes from Stewart as Davis nearly dribbled it away. Hoisting up a 3 and knocking it down is Law Winton.
Again, just not much you can do there. You got a hand in the face. The guy just makes a nice play.
Johnson the fake, the drive outside, and an air ball attempt. That time by Stevenson as Jay Davis, a lot of contact, no call, and Brookdale comes away with it. Davis just now gets to his feet, 5 on 4 this way. Nice find underneath as Stevenson takes one dribble, count it, and one. Emilio Stevenson back-to-back buckets from in close, and this time a chance to add one more at the line.
And how about the poise by Stevenson? He could have gone right up with that, but he took his time, was patient, waited for the contact, went up, and now has a chance to complete the three-point play.
50% shooter. As we wind down this opening half, Northampton started hot. They jumped out to an 11-point lead, but it's been tight for the last several minutes. Right now, tied at 38. Shot clock down to 10 on this Northampton possession, and it's going the other way. It's an offensive foul. And Northampton really having trouble with the fouls as they've been maxed out for the last couple of minutes.
And if I'm Brookdale, I'm going to go after that for these last 2 minutes of the first half. Attack the inside. Try to get more Northampton players in foul trouble.
Calhoun draws a double team. There's Stevenson, who scored the last 4 Brookdale points. Shot clock's down to 10. And the try from the corner, it goes. Randy Sutton, a long-range jumper. Jersey Blues back in front by 3. Law Winton to set up the offense. We got the 2 hyphenated names on the floor. Bad pass as Barrett overshoots his man, Davis Combs, and it's Jersey Blue basketball.
Yeah, Brookdale's really tightened up their defense the last couple of possessions, and as I mentioned a moment ago, Northampton now is getting frustrated, and they're trying to force things. Things were coming easy for them in the first half. Now they're trying to force things late in the first, and they're just not working, and they're getting frustrated.
Here's Calhoun, gets inside, and he's hacked. So Jameer Calhoun will shoot a pair. Works against Elijah Barrett. It's his second personal. Just over a minute to go now in the half. Jersey Blues have won their last 3 in a row after an opening night setback. Of course, coming off a season where they didn't experience 1 loss all season. Yeah. What a year it was. for the Jersey Blues a year ago. So many key players who are not a part of things anymore, sophomores who have moved on, but you know this program is always going to pick it up and manage to put a productive group on the floor. Jay Davis, a lot of dribbling inside the arc, he hits. And Jay Davis has starred this first half for the Spartans.
And that's what happens every time you leave him open. We talked about that early on in the first half. You've got to get a man in that guy's face because he's so good at squaring up and knocking down an open jump shot.
Ray Gatling leans in, and it's rebounded by Davis Combs. Northampton can hold for one. High step dribbling Law Winton backs it out. A start and stop with 10 seconds to go in the half. Into the hands of Jay Davis. Davis from the elbow, step back, no. Rebound Gatling, floated ahead. Sutton, can he get a shot away? He does, and he lays it up and in as the first half comes to a close. A fast-paced first half for the Jersey Blues as Northampton quickly jogs off the floor. And what was a fun one to watch, and you see the last basket before the half comes to a close, and it comes from Sutton. So we'll get set to welcome you back inside. Brian Gadsford and Tim Catalfamo. The Jersey Blues hold a 4-point lead at the break. We saw a lot of good things, but I think the impressive thing is early on, they found themselves in an 11-point hole. This game was 20-9 at one point in favor of Northampton, but then Brookdale started to play their game, and once they did, they really made things happen.
Yeah, and how characteristic of that is what we saw last year, where it took some time for Brookdale sometimes to settle in, but once they do, they're really tough to beat. Northampton, I think, early on was really running the ball really well. They were pushing the ball up the floor very well, and making their shots. That was something that early on they just almost couldn't miss. But the thing I think that changed in the first half was Brookdale started to drive to the hole and draw contact and get to the foul line and try to slow the game down a little bit. That certainly changed the pace, and when Brookdale was able to start chipping away at that lead from the foul line and being able to work for good shots, Northampton then on the other end couldn't get their off-tempo offense going as well. They started getting frustrated, and now they find themselves down at the half. So really kind of a tale of two halves, if you will, in the first half for Brookdale, but still very impressive play. Northampton definitely not out of this ball game just yet. They can make some adjustments. They're still hanging around, but you have to give credit to Brookdale coming back from a double-digit deficit to get with a 4-point lead at halftime.
And it is a 44-40 lead for the Jersey Blues. Halftime right now here at the Collins Arena. We'll take a break for the half. And now welcome back here on Brookdale TV as we get set to start the second half. Brian Gadsford, Tim Catalfamo back here with you. And Tim, you look at this game right now, Brookdale leads by 4, but really it's been a story of one player on each side handling the offensive load. Lamar Johnson for Brookdale and Jay Davis, the sophomore sensation for the Spartans.
Yeah, Jay Davis has been one of those players that we talked about early on in the first half, how you have to get a hand in his face because he's so dangerous shooting the ball. Lamar Johnson, the same story with him, but he's better when he gets the ball in transition on offense. So it'll be interesting to see what each of those two players do in the second half and how they can help their teams.
And they open up with Davis drawing the foul, and was he behind the three-point line?
I think he was.
I believe he was as well, and so he will shoot 3 free throws. And he shoots it at 43%, misfiring on the first one, but still 2 more to go. Davis coming off a 32-point effort in his last game, and he shot it well, 13 of 20 from the floor. A game that Northampton won 102-49 to put them one game over the 500 mark at 4-3. So 2 out of 3 for Davis. And it's a 2-point lead as Brookdale starts this half with Morgan, Calhoun, Johnson, Gatling, and Mackay Morgan as the ball's knocked out of bounds and last touched by Brookdale, so the Spartans will take over. With their original starting 5 of DeAndre Davis, Jay Davis, Corey Davis Combs, Elijah Barrett, and Nasir Scott. Davis fakes out Morgan. Now a nice find for an open Davis Combs 3, and Corey Davis Combs makes good on it. to put Northampton back in the lead by 1. Back and forth battle as the lead has changed several times in recent minutes. Going back to the first half, this is Sutton. Nice cutter, and it's Gatling who missed it on the inside, and the rebound taken by Davis Combs. Got it back out for DeAndre Davis, playing the passing lane. Sutton couldn't come up with the steal. And now it is Calhoun who will take it away for Brookdale. Johnson for 3, no. And the offensive rebound, Calhoun, a reset of the shot clock. Gatling uses the Calhoun screen. Gatling, beautiful pass, and Lamar Johnson, the easy 2.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Northampton went with what appeared to be a 2-3 zone there, leaving the interior of the paint wide open, and that's why Johnson found that hole and was able to put it in.
46-45, Brookdale leads. Scott hands it off for Davis. Davis, a 3, won't go. Flying in for the rebound, and the putback is Scott. And no one accounted for the freshman from Elkins Park, Pennsylvania. And he puts the Spartans back in the lead. Morgan able to save it. Gatling comes away with it and drops in the floater. Scott has it poked away. Gatling pursuing, but he's going to the floor. And Paul Chizek thought I think they called a foul on Gatling. They did. So Brookdale picks up their second, and for Gatling, it's his first. Early substitution, Tyrese Stewart in, Nasir Scott to the bench.
I mean, I can understand why you're upset about that call. I can understand that, but both guys are going for the ball. There's inevitably going to be contact. But on the other hand, Gatling did kind of reach in going for the ball and did kind of bring Scott down to the floor. So I can understand why that's a foul.
Nice job by Morgan as he was able to throw it off DeAndre Davis. So he gives his team possession. About 3 minutes gone by here in the second half. Morgan to set up the offense. There's Teray Gatling. Outside for Johnson. His floater is way short. And coming away with it, Davis. And the find for the and one opportunity is Nasir Scott. I'm sorry, that's Corey Davis Combs, who took the pass and has a chance to make it a 3-point play.
Barely touched him. I'm surprised. I don't think Coach Chuzak's going to be too happy about that.
Well, he's also not going to be happy because Makai Morgan now has 3 personals. Davis Combs misses. Rebound ripped away by Gatling. Good effort there.
Yeah, Morgan really didn't play much of the first half, Brian, because he got 2 quick fouls early on, and now he's got 3. He's remaining on the floor, though, so Coach Chuzak's going to bite the bullet and keep him on the floor.
Call a foul on the Spartans. Tyrese Stewart picks up Northampton's first of the new half. And we got a substitution, Keyshawn Cummings. Gives Paul Chizek a weapon offensively off his bench as Gatling has it slapped out of bounds. It stays with Brookdale. Cummings inbounding. Sutton driving, and good defense from Jay Davis. DeAndre Davis takes it himself for the bucket.
Yeah, just not very good transition defense there. Brookdale really wasn't ready, and that's why Northampton was able to take advantage of it.
Johnson backs it up against Davis Combs. Brookdale down 3. Johnson the crossover, the drive, drops it off Gatling, and his floater spins out, rebounded by Barrett. That one was halfway down, but wouldn't go. Jay Davis inside for Stewart, and a foul on the pass. Or did they call it a 3-second violation? So either way, the Spartans turn it over. And Sky Cherry is the Brookdale substitution.
Brookdale's got to do a better job, though, on both ends of the floor, boxing out and trying to get opportunities on offense to get the rebound. Northampton's really cleared out and has done a nice job as Cummings knocks down a nice shot, but they've got to do a better job boxing out, especially on defense, limiting the second and third chance opportunities that Northampton has gotten.
Davis way outside. Davis Combs strokes it, long two-pointer as his foot was on the line. Corey Davis Combs has been a tough matchup. Cummings misfires from three, and it's rebounded by Jay Davis. Spartans with the ball and a three-point lead. Davis against Sutton. Barrett inside, the tough finish. Tip-in won't go, and it's rebounded by Calhoun. Northampton unable to convert from in close. Cummings, tough shot, but had it go in and out, and then he picks up a frustration foul in the backcourt. It'll be Brookdale's fourth of the half. So for Cummings, it's his second. Spartans are coming off one of their best seasons a year ago. They had a mark of 23-7. That was in the regular season, but saw their season come to an end against this Brookdale team. DeAndre Davis comes up short. Transition opportunity. Calhoun, the catch and finish for two.
A nice adjustment there by Calhoun. That pass was a little late, and he was almost underneath the basket when he got that ball. So nice adjustment to lay it in for two.
DeAndre Davis.
There's a lot of contact. That's going to be a foul on Calhoun underneath on Barrett.
That's Jameer Calhoun. And so that's his second, Brookdale's fifth. Calhoun has to come out. Davis Combs to inbound it. Davis Combs, a three off the side of the rim, rebound Sutton. Sky Cherry. Brookdale will get set up. They're down by one. Whip it inside. Gatling has good position, but it's an air ball. And here's Barrett. Long strides to the rim. The rebound and the stick back goes. It's Jay Davis.
And again, just offensive rebounding underneath for Northampton.
All the way to the rim and one. Keyshawn Cummings taking it coast to coast. DeAndre Davis is charged with the foul, and that's now number 3. And we'll see if he remains on the floor. He's talking it over with Brennan McCarthy. And Cummings, 75% from the line. Three-point play is good. We are tied at 55. Barrett finds the cutting Davis Combs, and coming away with it, Brookdale floated ahead. It is a hard foul. Keyshawn Cummings will get free throws out of it. Northampton was not going to allow the easy basket that time as they pick up team foul number 3, and it's Barrett's third.
Yeah, Barrett's got to be careful. You mentioned that's his third personal foul. He's a pretty critical player down low. He can shoot around the perimeter. If he gets in foul trouble, it could spell trouble for Northampton. So I'm be interested to see if Coach McCarthy pulls him out, and he does. Looks like he's going to pull him out of it. No, actually, he's going to stay in, actually.
Yeah, Tyrese Stewart comes out. Nasir Scott is one of the original starting 5, comes back in.
I'm surprised, though. I would pull him out for a couple minutes just to make sure he doesn't pick up that 4th foul, because then you're in that territory where you're really not going to win anything with about 13 minutes left in the game. You have to take the guy out at that point.
7 minutes gone by in this half. The pass is tipped away, intended for Barrett. Back the other way is Sutton, all the way for 2. Davis gets picked up by Keyshawn Cummings, backs it out. Davis on the drive, tough shot, comes off the rim, and a nice save, but it winds up right in the hands of Jay Davis, and a foul on the floor. Jersey Blues pick up team foul number 6, and foul trouble is starting to become part of the equation, as that's now 3 on Jameer Calhoun, and he'll be forced to hit the bench. Coming in, Sky Cherry. Barrett posting. Barrett, the hook shot, tipped up in the air, and it comes out for Keyshawn Cummings. Threads the needle for Sutton, has it blocked away by Davis. Brookdale able to keep possession. Inside, Gatling got the defender in the air, and he scores.
A nice patience there by Cummings. He could have taken that 3 as we have a steal here.
Coming away with it, Davis. Combs off the deflection.
But going back to Cummings, he could have taken that 3. Instead, he decided to take his time, find the open man, and he got Gatling with a great pass inside.
And we'll have a timeout on the floor with 11:53 remaining, as Brookdale has been able to keep the lead. Haven't been able to take off in this game. They've really kind of kept it at around 4 or 6 points, but you have to be impressed, I mean, with the way they've come out against a tough opponent. Certainly a team that wants a small measure of revenge after seeing their season come to an end at the hands of Brookdale a year ago, and it's made for a good matchup.
Well, we mentioned the fact at the beginning of the broadcast that this was going to be a barometer of a type of a test for Brookdale to see really where they are. They've played good opponents. They had a very good showing against Bergen Community College, but they're not really the strongest teams in the Region 19 conference that they've played so far. So this was really going to be a true test for them, and so far they've lived up. The game's not over by any stretch of the imagination. Northampton is still very much in this ball game, and we've seen that the Spartans can go on a run very quickly. So Brookdale can't get too comfortable here, but they've done a very nice job, all things considered, with a young team, not a whole lot of size, kind of getting beat in the rebound category down low just because of that size. So they've done a nice job keeping themselves in this ball game.
They give Scott the jumper, he won't take it. Shot clock's down to 8. And playing the passing lane is Sutton. He's got the steal, tight roping along the sideline, but he's out of bounds.
Yeah, that probably should have been a foul. I think Sutton was pushed from behind. I'm surprised the official was looking right at that. That probably should have been a foul there on Davis.
No foul called as we take another look.
Right there, just a little bit, maybe not, but from up here it looked like possibly a push.
Of course, we have the bird's eye view here. Davis, Combs, step back over Cherry, no. And the rebound taken by Cummings. Nice find, Sky Cherry gets it to go, and it was a beautiful setup from Lamar Johnson. Credit him for the assist.
Yeah, nice extra pass there to find Cherry.
So Sky Cherry gets in on the scoring. Brookdale now has its largest lead of the night at 6. The answer from DeAndre Davis, yes, as he gets the friendly bounce off the back rim, and it drops through for 3.
Sometimes you got to be lucky to be good. Just one of those shots that just happened to ricochet in.
There's a second look by virtue of the backboard cam. Nice new touch for our 3rd season together. On the drive, Johnson blocking foul is called. Count the basket. Aggressive move, Lamar Johnson, and he draws the foul on Nasir Scott.
Watch Johnson here. You see, Scott rather, is gonna come in, and that's clearly a blocking call. So that's a good call by the officials. I think Scott was actually physically just trying to get out of the way. He didn't want to get in the way of Johnson as he was on a beeline to the bucket, but good call by the officials.
Well, Johnson's exhibited a very strong inside-outside game as he finishes off the 3-point play. Brookdale lead back to 6. About 10.5 to go. But Leo Law Winton is in the game now. He handles. Law Winton on the drive, and a foul called as reaching in with Sky Cherry. I don't think he thought he committed too much contact there, but foul was called, and it's Brookdale's 7th.
Yeah, that's a third on Keyshawn Cummings, Brian. So that's just a situation where, as a freshman, you got to move those feet. I know it's tempting to reach out and grab that ball, especially when you have the momentum, you're feeling it, you want to try to make a play for your team. But sometimes you just got to keep your hands at your sides and not reach in. Save that temptation. I know that's kind of a bang-bang play where a lot of things are going on, a lot of bodies are flying around underneath the basket, but you just got to keep your hands to yourself.
2 out of 2 from the line for Law Winton. It's a 64-60 game. Cummings sets it up. Cummings looking for someone, backs it out Johnson. Johnson goes behind the back and loses it. Scooped up Law Winton, 2-on-2 break. Law Winton, oh, it goes and one. What a tough shot as he goes glass, draws the foul, and a chance for a 3-point play as picking it up was Sutton.
And every time it looks like Brookdale's about to pull away and get to a double-digit advantage, Northampton comes back in transition, getting good buckets, trying to keep this game close, and they've done a nice job of that. They haven't allowed Brookdale to get away too far.
Unable to hit from the line, and the save by Gatling, nicely done. Sky Cherry, he's fouled, shot doesn't go, and he'll go to the line.
This is kind of what we saw in the first half, Brian. We saw kind of almost the same thing where Brookdale started drawing more contact, drawing more fouls, getting to the foul line and slowing the tempo down. It almost looks like Northampton has taken a page of the Brookdale playbook and is doing the exact same thing. So it's kind of been back and forth, but it's been back and forth at a much slower pace than we saw in the first half because of all the fouls.
Well, Brookdale's racked up 8 of them, Northampton 5, as the Spartans make a pair of changes. Elijah Barrett is back in. Tony James, who we have not seen much from tonight, but he checks in. Sky Cherry, the Middletown High School North product, misses from the line. Here's Corey Davis. Combs drops it off for Tony James, and he puts it in. Tight game, 9.5 to go. It's Brookdale by 1 and a timeout. So we'll take a break. We got a full timeout on the floor. 9:31 remaining. Second game of our doubleheader, and a good one. Brookdale and Northampton here on Brookdale TV. Spartans. The women took the opener in our doubleheader in convincing fashion, to say the least. And so now the men trying to make it a Jersey blue sweep. But Northampton has stood in the way. They've certainly posed a challenge. And it's a 1-point game as we are underway outside the timeout. Mar Johnson's been quiet here in the second half after a hot start. Pass is knocked away. Good defense, Law Winton, to not get into the Brookdale bench. 9 on the timer. As Cummings gets it in for Johnson. Brookdale will have to move quickly. Cummings, a 3. Offensive rebound, Calhoun resetted the shot clock. Gatling misfires. And the offensive rebound again taken by Johnson. Third chance opportunity. Cummings fakes, pass is slapped away and stolen. Here's Law Winton a little out of control, and Brookdale takes over again in the backcourt.
Good offensive rebounding there by Brookdale and trying to reset the ball. You just got to cut down on the turnovers. You have to take your time. Better passing.
Johnson, a 3, too strong. Long rebound, fought for, and it's picked up, and then getting pushed was Law Winton. And the guilty party was Teray Gatling, much to the chagrin of Paul Chizek. He didn't think so.
And I don't like that call because you had a similar call that I was just talking about a few moments ago on the opposite end when Brookdale was going for a loose ball. I believe it was Davis and Randy Sutton. Similar play, similar type of contact. Officials let that one go, and now they call the second foul on Gatling, which is now the 9th on Brookdale. So Coach Chizek's upset. I don't blame him. I don't like that call.
So it'll be free throws for Law Winton, the freshman out of Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. One make would tie up the game once again. Not sure what the delay is about.
I think the officials gave one of the Brookdale players a warning, or maybe it was directed at Coach Chizek. I don't know. It's almost what it seemed like.
A 1-on-1 situation as Brookdale has picked up 9 fouls. So Law Winton gets another attempt and a chance to give his team the lead. And he's unable to. And it'll stay with Northampton as it was last touched by Jazir Clark, who's pleading his case otherwise. But it's a new shot clock to work with. Inbounded for Barrett. Barrett backs his way in against Calhoun. The righty hook, no. Batted up in the air. Back to Barrett. Again he tries. Again it spins out, and it's rebounded by Cummings. Intercepted in the backcourt by Barrett. He's been all over the place. Barrett finds a man, and it's Ace Bibbs for 2.
Yeah, Brookdale's doing everything right. They just keep turning the ball over.
Johnson has it swatted, but a foul as Elijah Barrett rammed into Johnson and hard as Johnson needed an extra second to get to his feet.
That's the 3rd foul on Ace Bibbs. I was going to say if it's on Barrett, that's his 4th, but Brookdale has executed well. They've been clearing the ball. They've been getting the rebounds. The problem is they keep throwing the ball away. They keep turning it over. They need to almost reset and take a deep breath. They want to push the ball off the floor. I understand that, but when the pass is not there, when the guy's not open, you can't just throw it in the traffic. That's what happened on the last possession, and that's why Keyshawn Cummings is finding himself a seat on the bench.
Johnson ties up the game. 67 all with 8 minutes to go. And picking up the loose ball is Gatling as Brookdale takes it off the turnover. Fast break style. Oh, off the glass. Counted, and the foul. Lamar Johnson with a high degree of difficulty. But we have seen some tough shots in transition on both ends. One of the reasons this game has been fun to watch. Johnson right back to the line.
He's got knocked around tonight. He's been knocked down to the floor. He's had people swatting at him all evening. He's one tough guy, and he's been playing really well.
They're quieter here in the second half than he was in the first half, but still has been one of the key contributors. As Davis Combs misses the running layup at the offensive rebound. Jay Davis, and a crowd missed it. Tip-in goes Tony James. They keep giving him opportunities, and eventually they're going to cash in.
Again, just poor boxing out job by Brookdale. You got to back those guys up. Get them away from the rim. I know that you don't have the size, but you've got to do a better job in that regard.
Jazir Clark, who hasn't had much action tonight. Tight defense. Brought by James. It's a jump ball. That's the first one of those calls we've seen tonight. The possession arrow will keep it right here. Meanwhile, So Jameer Calhoun is a little bit shaken up.
Yeah, I think he rolled on his right shoulder or right arm on the bottom of that pile.
It'll be Brookdale ball underneath. 11 seconds to work with on the shot clock. 7:11 left of game clock. So the officials make sure. Gatling back out Johnson. It's Randy Sutton, a series of dribbles. Brookdale doesn't have anything going with the shot clock at 10. Johnson now directing traffic. High screen comes. Johnson out of control. Stays on the floor with it and then coughs it up. Ahead of the floor, it's Law Winton. Good contest, and Tony James again is there with the second chance points.
Yeah, I don't think Brookdale realized that the shot clock was that low, and just a poor job executing that last possession on offense, which led to that transition basket, and now Northampton's got a 1-point lead.
Spartans lead by 1 again. Clark feeds Calhoun. They'll count the basket and
Wow.
1. That was a great setup by Jazeer Clark.
It's a late call, too. It's like they were delayed and trying to figure out if they count the basket or not.
So Calhoun trying to add 1 more from the line. He's been a double-figure scorer, averaging as much for Brookdale this season, 10.8 a game. 3-point play is good. And we'll get a timeout. It's taken by the Jersey Blues. It's a full timeout, so we will step aside here on Brookdale TV. Tight game. Brookdale leads by 2. We'll be right back. .627 remaining, and it looks like it's going to go right down to the wire between these two teams, Brookdale and Northampton. And right now, the Jersey Blues find themselves in front by 2, 73-71. You got to look at us there.
Oh, no.
On your screen. And
We're really
Tim
ready for that shot.
for it.
Oh, well. I didn't get my good side, so what are you going to do? Oh, well.
But now we're set to go outside the timeout. Northampton can tie or take the lead on this possession with a 3. And slapped away for the steal. It's Calhoun, blocked away. It's Jay Davis getting back in transition, and we have seen that more than a couple of times.
I was just going to say the same thing. How many blocks and rejections have we seen in this game on both sides of the ball? It's been incredible.
DeAndre Davis got a good rest in. He is back in now, replacing Law Winton. The inbounder is Cummings. And it's Calhoun who's able to get the roll. Nice execution on the out-of-bounds play. We come up on 6 minutes to go now. Coming to the ball is Davis. Combs blocked. Good help defense by Cummings. Throw it ahead. Gatling able to catch it. He backs it out. And Cummings will get things set up.
And Brookdale, listen, you got a 4-point lead. There's no need to hurry here. I know it's a tight game, but what you don't want to do is try to force something and misuse a possession here. Take your time, try to work for a good shot, and take that shot when you get it.
Cummings baseline drive. The follow goes down. Jameer Calhoun used the glass. And the Jersey Blues now have matched their largest lead of the night. It's 6. Northampton needs an answer. Davis tries, way off on a 3. Davis had it for a moment. He has it back. Barrett couldn't catch it underneath. It's back to Brookdale. Barrett thought it was off Brookdale.
That's a rare miss by Davis, Brian. I'm surprised that wasn't even close to hitting the rim.
Jersey Blues slowly walking it ahead now with Cummings. They have played the majority of this game without the starting point guard, Makai Morgan, who's been in foul trouble. Cummings fires too strong, and the loose ball scooped up by Davis. Here's Jay Davis running in transition. DeAndre has it back, tried from an impossible angle, and Northampton will retain it. I'm not sure how Davis thought he was going to score there.
Trying to do a lot of things. That's what happens when you're down and you're in a situation like Northampton is, where everything was going smoothly in the first half. They were making their shots. Now Brookdale's tightened up their defense. Things aren't falling. You try to force things, as that was a nice shot there by James, but you try to force things, and when you don't get them, you start getting frustrated.
77-73. Brookdale looking to extend their winning streak to 4 straight. And no shot, as they called a foul. And did they call it against Brookdale?
No, I think they called it on the floor.
It was Cummings on the drive. They
Wow.
don't count the basket. The foul was called away from the ball because Jazir Clark is at the line. So Clark, one of the many freshmen, there's 9 of them on the roster. Newark, New Jersey native, first attempt, he's got it. And of course, Brookdale defends this home court incredibly well. They have not lost since going back to the 2015-16 season, remarkably, when they fell against Mercer County. And that was an 88-77 defeat, but since then, they have not found one in the loss column here at the Collins Arena. Scoring on the inside is Elijah Barrett. Clark on the outside. Johnson's been quiet. Try to get him going again. He drives, blocked by Jay Davis. He's had a number of rejections. Northampton scrambling for the ball, but Brookdale will have it. Only 7 to shoot. Wait, Jay Davis has made contributions offensively. Those have been well documented, but defensively, he has gotten after it as well. Gatling, nice execution, and he finds the bucket for 2.
And how many times, Brian, have we seen that on the inbounds pass? Brookdale has been able to execute that perfectly. It's either been Gatling or Cummings, or sometimes even Calhoun, that have been able to get that pass in transition coming out of the inbounds, and has just been able to finish. So that's just really, really nice job coming out of that play, which is a tough play to make when you're underneath your own basket.
There's Jay Davis able to bank in the last shot for the Spartans. 3-point game again. We'll take a second look. Step back jumper, and it's short. Jazir Clark. And DeAndre Davis is fouled as he tried to advance it to the front court. And that's going to be the 10th.
That's just not a foul, Brian, that you want to commit. You got to be smarter than that, especially in the backcourt. It's one thing if you're playing tight defense and you pick up a quick foul like that, but that's just unnecessary. You have to get back on defense. You got to let the guy go, especially in a tight game like this when you know now that you have 10 team fouls, you're going to put the team at the line for 2 shots. You can't do that.
Off the mark on the first one for this Northampton point guard who shoots free throws at a 67% clip. Trying to make it a 2-point game. And he does that. And Brennan McCarthy will take a timeout for his Spartans, bring his group together in an 80-78 game. And you know, you look ahead for this Brookdale team after this game. Of course, this is the final game of the month of November. They've already played a month of basketball, but only 2 here at home. They'll be in action for the third time this week, Saturday, when they travel to Union. That's always a fun matchup.
Yeah, it's a tough game.
And then we'll be back our next home game 1 week from tonight as Rowan Gloucester will pay a visit to the Collins Arena.
And these next couple of games, you mentioned that Union on Saturday and then at Gloucester County comes here to play next Thursday. Those 2 games alone will be really good tests to see where this program is at. I know it's early on in the year, and we talked about when we were doing the women's game earlier on in the evening how they're still waiting for some of the players to come over for the second half of the year. Brookdale's in the same boat. They have 2 in particular that are waiting to get cleared and that are ineligible for the first half of the year, but will be eligible for the second half. So they don't really quite have their full roster. They don't have fully what they have to show, but this will be a test as to where the program is at. It starts here tonight with Northampton, and then on the road at Union, next week against Gloucester County. Those will be games that Brookdale, when they look at their calendar, those are must-win games if you want to start your season off to a strong start.
Meanwhile, for Northampton, they're in the midst right now of playing a stretch of 4 consecutive games on the road, but that ends after tonight as they'll go back home to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where they will then play 5 straight at home. In fact, their next road game is not until the new year. It's not until January the 12th. So they've actually played good basketball on the road this year, a 3-1 mark, but certainly you like to play games in your home building, and they will have a lot of them in the days to come. Outside the timeout, Cummings had it stripped, and it's going the other way. Turnover outside the timeout.
And I've said this before, I probably sound like a broken record, but these turnovers just are killing Brookdale. Northampton as well has had their fair share of turnovers, to be fair, but just these turnovers on both sides of the floor, just sloppy passes, not really what you're looking for. I'm surprised.
Northampton trying to tie the score again. Wild attempt, Jay Davis. Offensive rebound, and the putback goes. It's DeAndre Davis.
And again, nobody putting a body on a body underneath trying to rebound that basketball. Back those guys up, get them away. I know you don't have the size advantage, but you got to back them up.
And Lamar Johnson got the shot to go. They count it. And it's an and one opportunity, I believe. Sometimes the indication is not real clear. Now the officials are going to get together. And they are counting the basket. So Lamar Johnson trying to make good on an and one opportunity. And he's working on a big night tonight. Leading scorer for this Brookdale team on the season, averaging just under 27 a game. Was that a little audio mix-up there?
Yeah, it was Dave Tompkins, one of the assistant athletic directors, had a little issue there. I gave Dave a hard time trying to make sure he got all the names correct, but that's one mistake he made tonight.
As Clark is able to get the roll, Tony James, who's had an impact here in the second half. After not much action early on, Johnson aggressively blocked by Barrett. And it will, which direction will it go? It's not a clear signal, but.
I thought James was on the baseline, so I think this is Brookdale ball, Brian.
Yeah, Brookdale will keep it. It'll be Sutton to inbound. 2:11 left on the clock. And now Calhoun draws the foul. Well, we've certainly seen plenty of fouls to keep us happy in this game.
Especially in the second half.
Maxed out. Yeah. Now Calhoun, a 50% free throw shooter.
And one thing that Brookdale has done a much better job of in this game as compared to the last time we saw them here at home against Cumberland is making their foul shots. That really hasn't been much of an issue tonight. In the last game that they played here at home against Cumberland, they missed several, and they almost cost them that game against the Dukes.
Trying to close this one out. They've led for most of the way in the second half. Step back jumper, Jay Davis. You got to credit Brookdale, though. They've tightened up the defense on him here in the second half. He's not really burned them much, but he gets that one to go to make it a one-point game again. The cutter is Sutton, but he missed it off the glass, rebounded by James. Jay Davis. Now DeAndre Davis circling.
Can't reach there. Watch those reach-in fouls.
Barrett on the drive, running one-hander goes down for Elijah Barrett. And the Spartans have taken the lead back. Johnson step back inside the arc. He knocks it down. Lamar Johnson clutch jumper. Under a minute to go now.
You can't make any fouls here, Brian. You got to let this play out. Regardless of whether Northampton makes this basket on this possession, you cannot send them to the foul line. That's the last thing you want to do.
Crowd is into it now. Davis, a three, in and out, no. Rebound, Calhoun rips it away. It's Brookdale ball.
I'd take a timeout if I'm Coach Chizak right now.
Clark almost gave it away, and then he's fouled. Nowhere near the basket. And that'll result in free throws, and Paul Chizak immediately pulls over Clark because he nearly just gave away a key possession.
And it looks like Randy Sutton is also shaken up there on the sidelines. He's hunched over talking to Coach Chizak right now.
Now, this has been a memorable game for sure.
These are some critical foul shots here for Clark.
It's double bonus situation. And Clark, a big make on the first one. And looks like one of the officials is not happy with something that was said on the Northampton bench. He signaled to quiet them down.
Yeah, Randy Sutton's really hurt on the sidelines. I don't know exactly what he did, but he's lying down in pain right behind Coach Chizak with the athletic trainer working on him.
And Clark only 1 out of 2 from the line. A foul called. Barrett got the rebound and then was hit. So now it's free throws the other way. It'll be Barrett to do the honors. He's a 73% free throw shooter this season. And he needs 2 to tie the game with the shot clock now turned off. Barrett, first attempt, no good. And a big miss. Nasir Scott is waiting to check in for the Spartans.
Brookdale's got to box out on this possession. They cannot allow another offensive possession.
Barrett, second attempt, no good. He missed them both. Rebound, James, jumper, DeAndre Davis missed it. Loose ball is corralled by Cummings. And then Northampton has to foul. Cummings almost threw it away. Johnson comes up with it. Mad scramble. Chaotic basketball, and finally the foul is committed on Keyshawn Cummings, who will go to the line to shoot. My goodness.
I tell you what, Brookdale got really lucky. I mentioned boxing out. They did not. Northampton rather had their opportunity to tie the game up. The bucket didn't go in, but just boxing out has been a big problem this afternoon for the Jersey Blues. Is there a timeout on the floor, Brian?
Looks like a timeout. 11.3 seconds left. Outside the timeout, Brookdale will be shooting free throws with Cummings. He's certainly comfortable with that, as he's been at the line a lot tonight and shoots it pretty well, 75%. Brookdale trying to come up with a gutty win tonight.
This game is not over. I mean, Northampton's still down by 2. There's still a lot of time left, especially depending on how many of these foul shots Brookdale hits.
Paul Chizak is going over the situation. I just heard him say they have 2 timeouts.
Now they're actually going to call a full timeout instead. So I think they were originally going to say a 30-second timeout. Now he wants a full timeout. Talk things over, which is understandable. And again, it's going to depend on how many foul shots Brookdale can make out of this timeout that's going to depend on how Northampton handles what will probably be their final possession, obviously. I mean, if Brookdale makes 2 foul shots at that point, it's a 4-point game. Northampton's only opportunity is to either try to run down and draw a foul or to get a quick 2 and then play the fouling game and just keep going. If he makes only 1, well, then that's a little bit different. Then they can tie the game. And if he misses both, well, it's game on at that point. So this is really going to depend on how many foul shots Brookdale makes out of this timeout as to how that affects Northampton's hand.
You know, when these two teams met in the region's semifinals back in March, it was a tight game that Brookdale pulled out by just 2 points. And right now it's a 2-point spread with Brookdale leading. So it'll be Cummings to shoot free throws. 2 makes here would make it a 2-possession lead, and that would be big as he gets the roll on the first one.
That's big. So now the only thing Northampton can do is tie here if they want a 3.
89-86.
If he misses it, you got to still get back on defense, though.
Second attempt for the freshman, in and out, no good. Rebound, Scott. Northampton's not going to take a timeout. Into the front court, behind the back with Davis.
No
Davis
foul.
drives, going for the layup, missed it. Rebound, Gatling, and a foul called. And I'm just not quite sure about the strategy there for the Spartans. There's just not enough time remaining to try to get a quick 2 there. You got to attempt a 3-pointer. Davis opted to take it all the way to the rim, couldn't convert. Brookdale comes away with the rebound, and Gatling now can ice it at the stripe.
Well, it was a discombobulated possession to begin with because Davis kind of bobbled the rebound, and that kind of cost him a few seconds. And then I'm not sure if Davis was instructed to try to take it to the hole and try to score as Gatling misses that first foul shot, or try to draw contact. It looked like they were confused. They weren't really sure what to do on that possession.
Well, this is a key one here because if he misses it, it's still a 1-possession game. Gatling missed it short. Gatling gets the rebound, and this one's over. What a win tonight. The Jersey Blues knock off the Spartans in a hard-fought, well-contested game that was tight throughout. And the Jersey Blues make it 4 consecutive victories. They hold their long home winning streak intact. Northampton fought hard all the way through, but it's the Jersey Blues who prevail. The final score tonight, Brookdale 89, Northampton 86. And as we get set to welcome you back inside the booth with Brian Gadsward, Tim Catalfamo here with you. I mean, this was one of the more memorable games. Region 19 matchup. It's always fun, as we talked about, when these two teams meet up, and this one certainly delivered.
Well, you know, what's funny is the last time these two teams played, and not really much has changed since then. Northampton has a lot of the players that they had last year. Brookdale's a little bit different this year, but the last time these two teams played was in that Region 19 title game last year. That game was decided by 2 points. This game's decided by 3, so we're not really expecting anything less than that. But I tell you, Northampton had plenty of opportunities, and you have to give credit to them. They went head-to-head against a very tough Brookdale team. I know they're young, but Northampton played extremely well. I think the thing that hurt Northampton late in the game was they just got frustrated, and they tried to force things too hard, especially midway through the second half. They just kept forcing things. The shots weren't going down. To be fair, Brookdale kind of opened up the door because they kept turning the ball over and giving Northampton plenty of opportunities to get back in the ball game. But you have to give credit for Northampton sticking around in a very tough place to play. The atmosphere was great. The atmosphere was very loud, so both teams kind of fed off of that. But very good win for Brookdale. This was a key win for them, a real good barometer of where they are. For them to be able to pull out a win tonight against a very tough Northampton team, I think speaks volumes to how far the freshman team really, truly has been able to come.
So the Jersey Blues now 4-1 on the season. They are winners of 4 in a row. Next up is a date at Union. That comes on Saturday. Our next broadcast here on Brookdale TV will be 1 week from tonight when the Jersey Blues take on Rowan Gloucester. So that's it from the booth. For Tim Catalfamo, I'm Brian Goudsworth. Thanks so much for watching. And now down courtside, Neil Villapiano with our interview.